Hello, everybody. I'm on my walking pad right now. So, or our walking pad. Casey and I got one. Turn this camera a little bit. Nope, that was worse. This way. There we are. Casey and I got a walking pad just on Facebook Marketplace. Honestly, if you work from a desk and you can have like a standing desk, I know you can't really see where I am right now, but obviously I'm standing. If you can have a standing desk, a walking pad is an awesome thing to grab. We got ours for $80 used on Marketplace, and for my American friends, that's like $30 for you guys. I feel like your dollar is so bad right now. Um, yeah, nice and cheap. Great way to get steps in through the day. It's easy, slow. I'm on like 1.2 speed. It's like a casual stroll through the park. It's great. Anyways, talking about diet breaks and refeeds today. Why we use them, how we use them, and I know a lot of you have refeeds in there or have had refeeds or have been on diet breaks, and maybe we haven't fully gone through what that actually entails. So, and for everybody else, you're probably going to have a refeed or a diet break at some point. So, it's good information to go through. If you're joining live, drop your wins. We'll start with wins. My win for today is we're actually Case and I are going to head up to my parents' cottage on the weekend. I've only been there once because I've been living in BC the last 10 years, and it's a cottage that's less than 10 years old for my family. So I'm really excited to get back up there and super excited to take Casey. If anybody's been cottaging in Ontario, it's like the best. It's world renowned. Like we have the Muskokas. You can Google it. It's like a super famous area of Ontario for cottages. My parents' cottage isn't in Muskokas because that's like millions of dollars. But we're not too far, about an hour and a half away from that in another group of lakes, and it's really pretty. Um, so, dive breaks and refeeds. Let's start off with a refeed. So these are things that we are adding in specifically to weight loss phases. You don't really need a refeed, which you can kind of understand what that means based off of the name of it. You don't really need a refeed in a growth phase at all. We might add one in a recomp or a reverse just to bring calories up and energy up slightly, but um, primarily you'll see it in your weight loss phases. So a refeed simply is what it sounds like. It's a meal to refeed your body. So we're trying to create one meal or maybe two. I think the most I've ever had is I put a client on 3 refeeds. Um, and the purpose of it is to add somewhere between 2 to 500 calories for just increasing the body's energy again. So we're going to fill up the body with more food, bring you closer to baseline for a day, which allows your body just to be able to rest and recover a little bit more. When we're dieting, we're putting our bodies under a whole bunch of stress. So we're creating an internal condition that's unstable, and our body is losing fat to try and stabilize that condition and find that homeostasis where it can be like, okay, this amount of food I can just maintain on. I don't have to do anything more. As time goes on through a weight loss phase, that stress, because it's constantly there, can start to accumulate, and it can make our weight loss phase actually slow down. So, or slow down, I should say. It doesn't always actually slow things down, but we start to we don't see the benefits of the weight loss as readily because our body's holding on to more stress. And so, while body fat stores might still be decreasing, our water is increasing because our body's starting to hold on to more inflammation. These refeed meals can be super effective at eliminating all of that. So we bring in extra food, and it allows your body for that 24-hour period to go, oh, thank God, I don't have to do this anymore. I can just chill out. I don't need to try and access fat stores. And often what we see after a refeed or a couple of refeeds is weight drops really quickly, and it's all that water that you've been holding onto that just sheds right off. And we get tighter again, and it can kind of like kickstart the weight loss phase again. It gives the body that chance just to kind of relax and calm down a little bit so that it can go back into weight loss productively. Um, it's also just really a very beneficial thing mentally. If you've been having like 2 out of 5 hunger every day for the last 3, 4 weeks, months, maybe, then it's nice to have that meal where you're like, it's not a cheat meal. I'm going to explain that differently in a second. But it's a chance to be able to like have more food and not have any hunger levels at all through the day and be like, oh man, it's nice. It feels good to have a little extra food. And we often encourage to have like whatever you want. It's just fun food. It's added calories, not added macros, if that makes sense. I'm going to define the difference there. We're focused when we give a refeed, it's like 200 to 500 calories. And the focus is just to get the calories up. If you hit your daily macros, whatever you're on, if you're on protein and calories, or if you're on like full macros kind of thing, whatever your macro structure is, hit that as your baseline, and those extra calories are just whatever you want to add on top of that. My go-to for refeeds for the longest time was I would combine my 20% fun foods. You can do this. So you can take, if your refeed is, let's say, I'm just going to give a generous number. Say your refeed is 300 calories, and the thing that you would really love to eat is like 700 calories. You can combine your 300 calories of refeed with your 20% fun foods, again, making sure that you hit your macro goals. So for me, I made sure that I hit my macro targets, but I would use my 20% fun foods with my refeed to have a giant stuffed cookie. And I'm going to try and talk and Google at the same time because these giant stuffed cookies are insane. I would say, truthfully, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here. I'd say truthfully that I do crave them, but not nearly as much as I used to. Now, when I give myself refeeds, I usually want to fill up on more meat because I just prefer it that way. But you got to check out these cookies. If you are given a refeed and you want to include one of these, let us know because we'll show you how. So let me see. Oh, I got almost eating it on the treadmill here. Okay. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. It's not going to focus. Anyways, I'll post it in the group. There's a whole bunch of different companies that make these. They're basically like quarter-pound cookies stuffed with deliciousness inside. So anyways, that's what I like to do for my refeed. Personally, or I used to. Sometimes it was pizza, and so you can do that. You can add your fun foods with your refeed calories to have the thing that you've really been wanting. And now, as like a little asterisk, a side note on this, if there's a food that you've been craving that just it's really hard to fit in, even with the 80-20, or even if you flex it to 70-30, if it's like a food that's really hard to fit in and you're missing it and you want to have that back in, ask us, ask Case or I, whoever's your coach, and be like, hey, I've really been wanting to just absolutely crush a lava cake, and I'm just not really finding a way where I can add it in. We'll help you do that because the worst thing is like everything that we teach in the program, right? Is we want you to have the best of both worlds. So for myself, for a long time, I felt like I had to choose fitness or I had to choose my lifestyle. And I went through a legitimate morning phase, and it lasted like a year and a half or 2 years where I was like, I'm never going to eat pizza again. This sucks. That was my old life, and I can't live that life anymore. Young Darcy was cute. Yeah, it's just I say that like jokingly because now where I am, I've come so far and I've learned so much. And this is what we want to teach you guys too, is that if you're ever feeling like that, where you're like, man, like there's this food that I really, really want to eat, and I don't know how to fit it in. I don't think that I can. and you've been craving it, you've been thinking about it, ask us and we'll help you fit it in because we want you to. So we might even look at adding a refeed just so that you can have that benefit, and it removes the restriction feeling of like, I can't eat this. Um, Anyways, so those are refeeds. Refeeds are essentially, long story short, again, because I've been ranting about this for 10 minutes, a refeed is a set of extra calories that you're going to eat on top of your normal day to enjoy whatever you want it is. The purpose is to give your body a break and let it rest so that we can have the added recovery and also the benefit of reducing stress internally on the body so that we can shed off any extra water or inflammation that we're holding on to. It might not happen after the first refeed, but it will eventually happen. And if it doesn't, that's where we might go into a diet break. So if the body's been under stress for far too long, like I know this is going to be a familiar story, but for someone who's been trying to diet on their own for 7, 8 months, honestly, I've talked to women and I've had clients who have dieted for years. Like years, they've constantly been trying to stay in a caloric deficit, and it's really challenging on the body. And so, when weight loss starts to really slow down, there is a point where it's not happening anymore, and diet break or refeeds aren't providing the stimulus that we need to get the body to respond a little bit better and recover a little bit better because it's just been so long. But then we go into a diet break, and these things are really individualized, guys. Like there's no set timeline of like every you could schedule it and be like every 12 weeks I'm going to do a diet break. That would be fine. But if we're going based off of actual necessity of it for progress, there's no rhyme or reason. It really is an individualized thing, and it depends on how the person's body is responding, whether we add these things in or not. So the diet break essentially is the same thing, except for we're not giving free calories on the top of every day. We're just going back to baseline. So we're going to take you to right to your maintenance calories, as close as we can estimate that, which is pretty dang close. And we're going to set your calories at baseline for a week. And our goal is no change at all. We want to add food and see everything stay exactly the same. And we might do a week, we might do 2 weeks. I don't know if I've ever done longer than 2 weeks. Typically, if we have to go longer than 2 weeks, we start to actually reverse out of dieting and we go into like a recomp or a growth phase instead to give the body a different kind of stimulus. So I would say at most you're going to see 2 weeks of a diet break. That would be a long diet break. And our goal, again, is the same thing. Just prioritize recovery and fuel the body so that the body can let go of physical stress associated with dieting and training and everything that's going along with that. Right. So um, that you're still going to be following your normal macros. It's not like every day is like you have 300 calories of refeed calories. We're just going to normal macros, eating the same way, but we're increasing to get out of the deficit and allow your body to chill out. So a great example of this, I had a client recently who she came to us and she had been, I think it was over a year and a half, she was stuck at the same weight. She couldn't get her body to respond. She really didn't want to go into any sort of like reversing or recomp to bring calories back up. She wanted to continue dieting. So we tried for a little bit and it was really hard. Like weeks of, maybe she would lose 2 pounds in a month. Like it was slow and it was frustrating. She was working really hard. Finally, we chatted more about it and we're like, hey, we gotta let your body rest. So we pulled all the cardio out and brought her food back up to maintenance. And we rode that for literally 3 weeks, and that was it. So we did like this small, I don't even want to call it a reverse because it was so short. And even that time frame alone, when we went back up to baseline, she lost more weight in those 3 weeks of just letting her body rest than she did in all of the weeks that we were trying to diet still. And then when we went back into the weight loss phase, she continued to lose more, and she lost, roughly off the top of my head, I want to say it was about 10 pounds in something like 8 weeks or 8 or 9 weeks. So things sped up quite significantly after that. So they can be really effective, and I don't want to give you that story as an expectation because it's not the same for everybody. That's an example of somebody that worked really well with. Sometimes you see more results than that. Sometimes you see less. And it's really this whole thing is there's nothing that's straightforward, right? So um, we just have to see and understand and try to understand exactly what's happening within the body so that we know what to do next. If you're stuck, then it seems to be the dreaded response is we need to reverse, which means we're going to spend the next several weeks and probably several months slowly bringing calories up so that you have your body has had a good chance to recover, build more tissue, and bring the metabolism back up. Yeah, I'm going to stop it there. I'm not going to go into reversing and recomping because we'll be on this call for like another 20 minutes. We're 16 minutes in already. But I did want to clarify the difference between a refeed, a diet break, and a cheat meal. We don't give cheat meals. Cheat meals are a free for all. Cheat meals are usually what people will give themselves if they're like, "Oh, I worked really hard this week. I'm gonna have a cheat meal," and it's just like a free for all of whatever you want to eat. We don't do that because it lacks so much control that it ends up being one of the reasons why people get stuck. Is at the end of every week they're like, "Man, Monday to Friday I killed it. It's the weekend now. I can relax a little bit. I'm gonna have a cheat meal," and they consume so many calories in that cheat meal or cheat day that they end up undoing all of the work that they did Monday through Friday. So cheat meals you'll never see in your plan because they lack control, and quite honestly they establish unhealthy food relationships and unhealthy um, exercise relationships because it creates this dynamic where you feel like you can earn extra calories and whatever when there is no earning of calories or anything like that. Our bodies don't give us rewards, they respond to stimulus. So if we if we eat less food than we consume, we lose weight. And that's how the body sees it. The body doesn't care if you did it 5 days of the week or 7 days of the week. It just cares that at the end of a set amount of time that you've consumed less calories than you have spent, and then you get your reward, which is the hard work that you've done showing up visibly. Um, so no cheat meals for this team because they lack too much control. You might have an intuitive eating day, which is different because there is still structure and control around that. Essentially, it is a day of no tracking, no weighing that we'll give to a client when they're prepared for it, because it's really hard to do intuitive eating without experiencing tracking. Intuitive eating, you're trying to replicate a normal track day as best you can without tracking and weighing everything. So it's still very controlled, but it's obviously we don't have the scales, we don't have the apps, so we're just using visualization and our habits, our foundation of habits, to have a controlled intuitive eating day or week if it's a vacation, something like that. Yeah, we lean on refeeds, diet breaks, and then the other phases of fitness. If weight loss isn't working, then we go into reversing, which is increasing your metabolism again, usually leading into recomping, which is slow body composition change with increasing muscle, or we go right into a growth phase where we're focused primarily on increasing muscle tissue to bring metabolic rate up much, much higher so that we have a larger runway of calories to decrease for a weight loss phase. Hopefully that makes sense. Excuse me. If you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, shoot it over to Case or I, ask it in the group. There's a good chance that if you're asking the question, there's a whole bunch of other people wondering. I know that there's usually a handful of people that watch these lives, but not everybody does. So if you ask the question in the group, It'll also stimulate thought for the people who haven't watched the videos, who are probably wondering the same things as you guys, right? So if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay, let's hear your biggest takeaway, and we will see it in the group. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everybody.